This is Cheyenne Valentine, back today again with a new episode. Today's episode, I want to talk about Bill Cosby. I don't want to make this video long. I know this is old news in a sense where he's in prison now. I think he got, 3 to 5 years? I'm not quite sure, but I think he's was sentenced to 3 years. But so this is my opinion about the Bill Cosby thing, and some people are not gonna like what I have to say, but let me first start off by saying I am sick of humanity. And what I mean, I'm sick of this race thing. We are all humans. Yes, some of us are brown, some of us are olive, some of us are beige. We might come in different quote unquote colors, but we are all human beings. And what I'm tired of is that when someone is on trial for something or somebody is accused of doing something heinous, people who look like that person, especially who looks like them and that's the same gender, they take up for this person and make excuses for them. And then people who don't look like that person, well, and especially if they are not the same gender, but even if they are the same gender but don't look like them, they automatically assume that person is guilty. Even if someone maybe present them with information to show that they weren't guilty, they want to make sure this person is buried and make sure they suffer, all because that person doesn't look like them. So with the Bill Cosby case, I have looked at interviews from the women who have accused him. I've looked at other people's videos. I've looked at information about the trial. I used to obviously watch the Cosby Show when I was a little girl. And let me first say about the Bill Cosby Show, Mr. Huxtable and Claire and all the kids. That was an incredible show. And but I have an issue with the show. And the only issue I have is that it was unfortunate that blacks weren't used to seeing those kind of black people in their community. And what was more sad is that a lot of young black kids or even teenagers weren't used to being raised in a family like that, where you might have the mother who's a lawyer. I think Claire was a lawyer, and then Mr. Huxtable was a doctor, right? So a lot of people put him on a pedestal, and Claire and the Huxtable family. And well, the positive was that they probably wanted to mimic that family, and it was awesome to see a black family like that. But I asked myself, why weren't there more black families like that? It's sad. It is so sad that in the black community we have so small examples of a healthy, positive family structure, that we have to look at TV and live vicariously through some fake characters that aren't even real. Mr. Huxtable wasn't real. Claire wasn't real. Theodore wasn't real. Denise wasn't real. Vanessa wasn't real. Rudy wasn't real. And you get what I'm saying? What's the older sister named Sandra? They were real people, but these were characters they were playing. So it's unfortunate that Cosby, Mr. Huxtable, was almost a surrogate father to some young black men and black women because their own parents, weren't shit. And I've heard several people say, watching the Cosby Show, they looked at Claire and Mr. Huxtable as almost like surrogate families. And I remember my brother saying that he never took Mr. Cosby's character seriously on the Cosby Show, because this is what he said. He said he never met a black man that acted like that. So it's unfortunate he never met a black man who was a doctor, let's say, and just who was into his wife and kids and had some damn sense. Okay, because that's how he was portraying himself on that show, Mr. Cosby or Mr. Huxtable. So let's get into it. Do I believe that he drugged and raped women throughout the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the 2000s, or I don't know when allegedly the allegation started? I don't like to use the word believe because I wasn't there, so I don't want to say believe, but I'm going to say I think he did do it. Now hear me out. Why? one thing I try to be, and it's hard, but I try not to be biased. And what I'm seeing is that I even remember seeing an interview where someone talked about Bill Cosby, and it was a white guy. And I couldn't tell, he even threw in Camille and said they tried to ask Bill Cosby about some allegations, and it was an interview with Camille and Bill, and he in the interview tried to throw in a question about the sexual assault accusations, and Bill said, "Oh, we don't answer questions about that." And Camille kind of looked at him and kind of moved away from him, but she also had a smile on her face. And so this white guy was talking about it. He was saying, and Camille leaned away from him and looked at him and smiled, and he just seemed real hyper talking about it. And I knew why he was hyper, because he want Bill Cosby to get the book thrown at him. He wants Bill Cosby to get buried. And I don't think it's because he was allegedly sexually assaulting women. I think this white man wanted him to be buried because Bill Cosby's black. Because let's think about it. Harvey Weinstein, even Charlie Sheen, he had HIV or AIDS for 4 years or allegedly, and still was having sex with women, and he made them sign non-disclosures and was paying them off, and he had to come out and do an interview. No one said anything about that. And I know that's different than drugging somebody, but they're both bad, because drugging someone, you're raping them, and the other one, he wasn't raping them, but he had a deadly disease that he didn't tell them about that he could have gave to them. So all the shit's fucked up. Excuse my language, but it's all messed up. And then I even remember it was another guy, David Letterman. He had to come out because some women were accusing him of cheating on his girlfriend and giving sexual advances, and he said he was having relationships with these women. So anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that I notice in some cases when there is, let's say, a black person, another person of another race, whether they're white, Asian, Hispanic, they're quick to want to believe this person did wrong. They're quick to want to throw this person in jail and not give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say you take that same person that's black, and then you have black people. They're quick to make excuses for this person. They're quick to say they didn't do it, and then point out the other people who did it and that didn't get prosecuted. So I'm tired of both people. I'm tired of the bullshit. Can we stop looking at race, and can we just take things as it is? If this man was going around drugging women, he needs to be thrown in jail. Okay? It don't matter what race he is. I don't care if Bill Cosby was purple. I don't give a damn about his color. I care about his actions and his fucking behavior. And I've noticed when I would look at videos with the women the accusers, the women, who were saying he drugged them, underneath I would look at the like and dislike, and I noticed there was a lot of dislikes. Damn near more dislikes of the video than likes. And I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure they were from black people. I don't know if it was more from more black men or black women. I think it's about equal. And what I want to say to black people is that let's take this at the core. Why do you think that he didn't do it? Now, I want to say that D.L. Hughley did an interview with Vlad TV, and he said I don't know how far back, but he said in the newspaper, I don't know if this is the 70s or the 80s, he said it will always be, and don't quote me on this, you might can find this interview where he talked about Bill Cosby, because him and Bill Cosby kind of got into it. And he said in the newspaper, they would talk about women who accuse Bill of sexual assault and different things of that nature. And so D.L. Hughley said he said he knew about these rumors and women were accusing Bill of this a long time ago. And so you might say, well, look, if Bill Cosby really did this, why is he going to jail? But the men like Harvey Weinstein and whoever else, David Spacey, just all these people that have been accused of different things. I'm going to tell you why. Well, I don't know this for a fact, but I just use common sense with things like this because I'm black and I just use common sense. Okay. I think it's two reasons. Number one, Bill Cosby, I don't know for a fact, but I feel he makes someone upset. He made someone upset, the higher ups, whoever's running the world, or who's ever running Hollywood, he upset somebody. And so what I feel, I can't say this for a fact, I feel he did drug a lot of women. He probably is a serial rapist who likes to drug women and take the sex. I think these powers that be knew what he was doing. He was friends with Hugh Hefner. Okay, so they knew, they had dirt on him. Okay, so Bill Cosby, I think, this is what I think, was drugging women all through when did it start, the 80s or however long. This is women were coming out. He was paying them off, and the powers that be knew what he was doing. And they were okay with it, and they were going to keep his secret. They weren't going to just, let it get out of hand and put too much media attention on it and really try to prosecute him. You see, why you think he's going to jail is he in his 80s? Why you think he's going to jail now? It's a reason why he's going to jail now. So he pissed somebody off, I believe, and they already had dirt on him. So basically, to get revenge, they just released the hounds on him. So, encourage women who they knew was raped by him, because they probably knew he did that to a lot of women. So they knew once one came out and they gave her a lot of media attention, then the other ones would come out, and then they let it go to trial. Trust me, look, this is how I feel. Do you think that, as messed up as the world is, you don't think that people who are worth billions of dollars and damn near millions of dollars, you don't think some of those people are doing some very disgusting, nasty things? You got pedophiles out here. You got people that's murdered people. And it's kind of strange how, I don't know if you noticed, it was a guy named Jimmy Savile. I don't know if you all know about him, but he died, and then a lot of stuff came out about him being a pedophile and working with Queen Elizabeth and her husband, and they talked about a lot of stuff with him. Look him up, Jimmy Savile. And it was kind of strange how after he died, all this information came out, which means people knew in Hollywood and knew in the inner circle, the millionaires and billionaires knew what this man allegedly was doing. But why did it come out after he died? I'm going to tell you why. Because they covered for these people. All these people are in cahoots together. All these people are up there doing the degenerate shit together. Like Bill Cosby knew Hugh Hefner, always at the Playboy Mansion. What you think they were in there doing? Okay, so a lot of people who are in Hollywood making a lot of money, there's a significant amount of them that are sexual deviants, I believe. And so they protect each other. They all doing degenerate, shit. And so the only time, in my opinion, the information gets out and the person actually pays for what they're doing, because see, they protect each other. And I really feel like to get to a certain point at the top, they have to have some kind of dirt on you. So either they have to, you have to have talent first. But a lot of people have talent. So how do you notice that they only let certain people in? So it seems like either so let's just say you got a group of people that have talent. How do they pick the person that they're going to have at the top? They have to pick the person that's willing to do the most degenerate shit. And usually that person already has some things wrong with them. Maybe a pedophile, maybe a rapist, maybe a murderer. I mean, they can have anything that's wrong with them. And that's the person they let in because they have dirt on them. They have something that can hold over their head. So when this person doesn't do what they want them to do, they can release the information. Okay, follow me? Or they could take a person that has a lot of talent and then turn them out and record them doing something degenerate or getting raped or just anything that could make them, I guess, look bad to the public or tarnish their name, and then hold that over their head in case they don't want to go with what they're saying. So back to this. I believe Bill Cosby upset somebody. Some people in Hollywood, I definitely believe that, and they had it out for him. And so I feel they already knew what he was doing all these years, and they just basically released the hounds on him. But I believe he did it. Now, 60 women came out. I believe, I've heard, and I haven't experienced being raped, but I've heard that that's a very traumatic experience, which I'm pretty sure it is, and I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. And I want to say to anybody who's have been raped, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And the thing is, I've heard from someone who was raped that that's not something that a person is quick to talk about, or to, because people always say, well, if you were raped, why you didn't tell anybody, and why it took so long for these women to come out. And when people say this, and you usually hear that from men, they say, why did the accusers wait 20, 30 years? I would like to ask these men, have you been raped? So if you've never been raped, you don't know what it would feel like to be raped, or the trauma or the humiliation. I heard a woman who said she was raped, and she said, it's humiliating, it's embarrassing, you're in shock, and then in order to put this person in jail, you have to relive the rape again by talking about it. Let's say you go to trial, you're reliving it, looking at this person, and then they might not even go to jail. So it's traumatizing. Okay, so maybe that's why they didn't come out. It's just like when men, it's so easy for them to say, why the women waited so long? Okay, have you been raped, sir? Have you been raped? Because there's a lot of men who have been raped and molested, and they won't tell a soul. So anyway, that's very insensitive to say why it took so long. But do I think all of the women who came out, all 60 women, all of them were raped by him and drugged? No, I don't think so. When you have a case like this, there's going to always be some stragglers. You're going to always have some people that's going to jump on the bandwagon, because you can have a situation where some women really truly did get drugged by him and raped, and some women maybe willingly had sex with him, and so they can say, well, I did have sex with him, so I can use this to get some money and get some attention. So I don't know, I just don't feel like all 60 necessarily this happened to, because I know how people are. So some people are liars, and some people just want to jump on the bandwagon. But for that many to come out, I think, and I don't want to use the word believe because I wasn't there, I think that he was a serial rapist and that he drugged people. And the fact that he was, had the Cosby show, and he was America's dad, and he was such a people looked up to him, and he came off so innocent and fatherly like. If he had that in him, obviously, to be like that, that was a perfect ruse for him to do it. Think about, because see, we're thinking in a reverse. We're thinking, okay, he couldn't possibly do it because, see, this is how our mind works. A lot of people are thinking, well, he couldn't possibly do it because he was America's dad, and he was this, and black people put him on his pedestal because, unfortunately, we didn't see those examples regularly in our household or in our community. So we see this doctor with his wife, and he's faithful, and he has beautiful kids and a beautiful wife, and he doesn't use profanity, and he doesn't have tattoos over his body, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink, he's not disrespectful, he's not a child molester. We're seeing all these positive things about him. So when you hear that the real person, that when you realize that was just a character he was playing, but the real person wasn't, shit like that, you say, no, that couldn't be, because you're getting brainwashed by the character. But what I want to say is, and challenge you and say, think in reverse. Think that the fact that he did play such an innocent character, that allowed him to get popularity, and he could use his fame to do what he really wanted to do it, and that's because now he has more access to beautiful women, and I think he took advantage of that. I think he did, and they even had a clip. If you go online, a comedy, stand-up act that he did, where he bragged and made a joke about putting Spanish fly in women's drinks, and in the act, I think he said, but he said, you put he was told by a guy, you put the Spanish fly in a woman's drink, and then she goes nuts and she goes crazy. Now, what would make him even make a joke about that? Basically, he was basically joking about a date rape drug, and people laughed. And so with a lot of people, they act like they're joking and playing when they're serious. So the man was serious, because that's what he was doing. And maybe he was told that when he made that joke, it was a truth to it. He probably was told by another guy, you put this in a woman's drink and this shit passed on, you could take advantage of her, and he started doing it, and he started liking it, and he never stopped. And that's what I think. I feel that the issue with this is that, and we, as blacks, we have to really, if black people listen to this, which I'm pretty sure, we have to understand that when you watch TV, these are characters that's being played. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Michael B. Jordan and Killmonger. After Michael B. Jordan played Killmonger, every black woman and every other race of women wanted to be with Michael B. Jordan. Before he played Killmonger, nobody gave a fuck about Michael B. Jordan. So everybody wanted him. Even that tennis player, that biracial girl who fought against and won against Serena recently, I think she won the Ellen show, and she said she had a crush on Michael B. Jordan. And I wonder why him of all people. No, see, she doesn't have a crush on Michael B. Jordan. She has a crush on Killmonger. And see, this is what's going on. They think if they date this person to meet them in person, they're going to act and look just like their character. And I just want to say with Michael B. Jordan, first of all, he's naturally thin, so he had to, I think, work out 4 times a day and eat all day and dedicate himself to even get that muscular. And then he had to change his body type to do Creed to get more slimmer and more cut. And then to do Killmonger, he had to get more beefy. His haircut, he doesn't wear his hair in those dreads like he did in Black Panther. In real life, he wears a low fade. That's what it looks like. I think in real life, he likes playing video games and reading comics. I mean, that's nothing like Killmonger. So what I'm trying to say is we have to understand this is a character they're playing. This is now truly who they are. Yeah, they had to tap into a part of them to play that character, but that's not them. So Bill Cosby, he was playing Mr. Huxtable. In real life, Bill Cosby was not a doctor, and so he was not a doctor, and he was a comedian. Not downplaying a comedian, not saying a doctor's better than a comedian. I'm just saying he was a comedian. That was his skill set. That had nothing to do with his morality, his integrity, and even though he came off a certain kind of way, well, yeah, the time era it was, and just the way things was, of course he's not going to come off as a sexual deviant, because we don't like sexual deviants and we put sexual deviants in jail. So why would he come off as like a pervert? I mean, why would he do that unless he really wants to go to jail? So I just, like, this video is a little bit longer than I thought, but yeah, that's all I wanted to say, that I do think he did it. And what upsets me with black people is that they seem to give this kind of behavior a pass. And I don't know, it seems in the black community that black people, males and females, basically think it's okay for these men in our community to be hypersexual. It's almost like we make excuses for men who are hypersexual in the black community. Now, why is that? Why do we make excuses for some black men who are hypersexual and who have taken that and now have turned into a sexual deviant? Because I think that's what he turned into. And he's paying for it now. And now, this is the last thing I want to say. You might say, well, that's fine if he did it. Why can't Harvey Weinstein and Michael Spacey, David Spacey go? Okay, so let me say this. I'm going to say this one damn time. Black people are looked down upon. People are racist against us. We have the illusion of inclusion. So, if you take a black man and a white man, and they both did the same crime, murdered and raped somebody, the black guy probably is going to get more time than the white guy. I can't guarantee you that, but it's a possibility. It is a fucking possibility, okay? Do you follow me? It is a possibility. So because it is a higher possibility that black guy might get more time than a white guy, don't do the shit. Okay, this is how you solve this problem, because blacks always complain, which rightly so. They feel, why does blacks get more time than other? Yeah, it's totally unfair. But blacks act like, blacks are strange to me, because we know we live in an unfair world, but yet we don't stick together. We don't build businesses the way we should. We don't support each other. We uphold degenerate behavior. We call each other the N-word. A lot of us have kids all over the place. We're not building our family structures up. So I'm trying to understand, if you know that the cards are stacked against you, why would you dig the hole deeper for yourself by even participating in certain activities? Because once you get caught, you're going to get fucked, literally and figuratively. And maybe that white guy, the Asian guy, might not get, fucked as bad as you. You see? And then you complain. No, let's take away the fact that black people and black males and black women sometimes get more time than their white counterparts for the same crime. Because at this point, that's irrelevant. If he did that stuff, it don't even matter at this point, because Harvey Weinstein and David Spacey and the rest of them, even if they don't go to jail and get punished on planet Earth, when they die and cross over, I promise you they're gonna get what's coming to them. I promise you that. We might not be there to see we might not be there to see it, but they're gonna get what's coming to them. So you don't have to worry about that. Just keep fighting, and we can keep bringing that to their attention, saying that's not fair. But also, what's not fair, if Bill Cosby did all this, is for him to be free because the white dudes are free. I don't want to hear that. I don't care at this point. I know everybody else cares about race, but I fucking don't. All I see is a male a man, a human being who took advantage of his position and used that to victimize women because he had access to so many attractive women. He decided, I'm gonna do what I did. That's what I see. Somebody who took advantage of their situation, somebody who could not control their sexual urges, and probably had and from a spiritual perspective, probably had a sexual demonic attachment on them. Or I don't want to use the word demonic, sexual attachment that cause irrational sexual urges and thoughts and perverted thoughts and things of that nature. So that's what I think. Basically, what I saw was a rapist, somebody who liked to date rape women and take advantage of them. When it comes to that, I don't see color. See, that's the problem with us as humans. That's why racism happened in this country, because we identify too heavily with people who look like us when we all look alike. We're all fucking humans. We're just like different colors with different hair textures and, shapes of our nose and mouths, but we all are fucking human beings. So why should I give a person a pass for degenerate, disgusting behavior because he's black? Now, I don't know also, or because he looks like me, and also the fact that most of the women were white. That's what it seems. It kind of reminds me, Bill Cosby kind of reminds me of the O.J. Simpson syndrome. And I'm going to talk about this, what I call O.J. Simpson syndrome. I'm starting to realize that a lot of blacks are not pro-black. You have some blacks that say, oh, I'm pro-black and all that. They're not pro-black. They're pro-self. Because if you notice with blacks, and this reminds me of O.J. Simpson and Bill Cosby, when they're in poverty with everybody else, right? And then they have a talent or such, and they get out of poverty, and now they're exposed to whites. Now these whites like them. They respect them because they make money and they have a talent. The white women want them because they got money, and the white men respect them because they are rich, right? And so that particular black person tends to turn their back on the other black people and say things like OJ said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Or if you know, and then you see he mainly started dating white women, as you can see with Bill Cosby. Yeah, his wife was black because OJ left his black wife for Nicole, who was a white waitress, and may she rest in peace. I'm not saying that to belittle her. I'm just saying that I think he left his childhood sweetheart for Nicole. And as far as Bill Cosby, his wife was black. She's kind of light, but she's black, caramel skin or whatever. But he was date raping and raping most of the women that he did that to. I looked like they were either white or biracial or some type of Hispanic. And there was some black women obviously in there too, but biracial, white, somewhere in that range. And so it's almost like because he became Bill Cosby, had access to all these different women, especially white and biracial women. He decided to take his desires to the next level and date rape them. Okay, give them date rape drugs and date rape them. So it seems like with some of these black people that they could care less about the black community or about blacks as a whole rising up. They just want to get out, and they're individual based, and they want to get out and be, welcome into the white establishment, whites with the money, and then date white people and just do what they do. So they don't really care about other blacks. They just want racism to stop for them. Like I'm convinced with some blacks, if they wouldn't care about racism, like if racism basically consisted of whites and other races hating blacks and blacks being in poverty like blacks are kind of now, and if they could get out and if they could be the only black that was treated really respect, had nice things and all that, they will be content with that, and they will be perfectly content with seeing other blacks pretty much perish. And I'm convinced a lot of blacks are like that. Look how they act towards each other. They don't even help each other. Even though we're all in this together, they still don't help each other. So I feel with Bill Cosby, he had the O.J. Simpson syndrome. He was, Hugh Hefner's bosom buddy. What were they doing? They all screwing the Playboy bunnies, even though this man was married. Had he been faithful to his wife, none of this would have happened. So that's all I want to say about this. Basically, I believe he did it. I think he did it. I wasn't there. And I'm tired of black people making excuses for him just because he's black and they looked at him as a father figure. That says a lot about our fucking community, that some fictional character on TV or, some make-believe character on TV, we in our life the black males in our life are so subpar, and the black males in our community was so subpar that Mr. Huxtable, Bill Cosby, the character, basically was a surrogate father. We have a lot of work to do. There's some dude on TV that we didn't even know that he was reading lines off a fucking script. It was all make believe that we're so not we were so not used to seeing a black male acting like that, with treating his wife with respect, being at home with his kids, not having a mistress, being a doctor. We were so used to not seeing that we would basically, if he did do these things, look past him raping women and drugging them just because he was a surrogate father. Then that means we have a lot of fucking work to do in our community, and that's sad. That's just like the dude from Seven Heaven. That dude, he was playing with a pastor with 7 kids or 6 kids, and then I think he slept with underage girls, and then they kept running. They act like that never even happened. So I understand it's a bias. And I'm just trying to tell black people, it is a bias. You guys can do the same. You and this white person can do the same crime, and it could be a high possibility that you would get more time than them and you would be prosecuted more. So if you know this, why would you do the fucking crime? When you be straight-laced, when you be moral, when you have integrity, you have the illusion of inclusion. And that's what Bill Cosby had. He had the illusion of inclusion, and look where it got him.